Welcome, speed gaming fans, to the Final Fantasy Randomizer Duckling Derby 2025 Week 3 Group A race. My name is Thavian Hawk. With me today is Classic Gamer 76 with our tracker duo of Mechlin89 and Scruffy Ninja Tuna. Classic Gamer, why don't we jump into the blursings as we get ready to start up this run?
Alrighty, sounds great. We actually have Malices for the first time, so we will be getting some Malices this evening. The fighter has plus 20 MDEF, resists poison, earth, death, time, and status, so he's got to put part of a ribbon, plus 20 HP, but minus 10 strength. Thief, plus 10 luck. Elemental plus magic, resists lightning and death, but at minus 1 MDEF per level. Black Belt, promo plus 3 MDEF, plus 40 HP. Telemagic, which is always great early, but minus 1 hit percent per level. The Red Mage resists lightning, ice, and fire. Has plus 15 luck. Can equip gauntlets and helmets. But if he equips the Masa, he's going to be muted. The White Mage has the Red Mage armor and has exit and plus 20 hit percent, but at the mouse of minus 4 max MP in the Black Mage. Plus 2 MDEF per level, plus lock 2, plus 10 MDEF, but minus 150 gold. So what do you think of these blursings, Thavian?
The blursings are definitely a mixed bag. The problem our runners are going to have, they can make their choice, say go with the fighter rainbow or pick a thief for early running, but we've got forced recruiting on, so they will have to shuffle up their party as they run. So taking one of those early characters with the free exit or telemagic and then shucking it for something else, all
They
the
might have
options
to do
are
that.
available.
Yes, indeed. It'll be very interesting to see what they start up with and really who they end up replacing when they are forced to do so. Let's see. We got started about 10 minutes ago, so really we should be off and going any moment now.
We do apologize for any technical difficulties. We are just trying to get the overlay updated. Hopefully, we'll be able to get the streams as they go live. And it looks like the runners are live. We have some issues with the overlay. I've pulled up one of our runners' streams, and I can actually say we have an entrance and floor shuffle going on. Haven't been able to see it just yet on the main stream, but it looks like our C right side leads into dwarves in Canaria Castle. So
Yes, indeed. And it appears we have lost our stream for the moment here, so stay tuned.
we have a reset over the overlay. We have video. Do we have live restreams?
We could definitely see, let's see, I definitely see a fighter on one of them and like a thieves on the other, but right now it is pause. We did get a message on Discord about this.
And we are getting live feeds. Things are starting to move on screen for us. We are a little bit behind on the feeds, but as long as it's synchronized, we are good to go. Looks like we've got a couple of our runners have made it to Provoca. And Vaughn has just cleared out that sea into Dwarf's Dive that Siberian Bull is making right now.
Yep, meanwhile, Fierstar is seeing Provoca and very slowly going to take down those pirates or reset out.
Looks like either the runner started with or found a Zeus Bonk, so that is an early Lit 2 cast. Very handy if you pick up some characters with no spells. And Domino Bright in chat noting one of our runners has picked up Quad X for a Red Mage. which looks like it's at level 1. Our level 1 magic is Alit, Cure 2, A-Rub, and X-Fur for white, and then Warp, Quadex, Sleep 2, and Sleep 1 at black. And then we also have our level 2 magic. We've got that for Heal 3, Wall, Mute, and Harm 3, as well as Lit, Rub, Fire 3, and Slow. So that's a sweeper and a good amount of utility on the black side, and some good utility in the white.
Yeah, heal 3 and wall are always good. A-Rub can be a little underrated because it not only blocks death, but also blocks status and earth.
Looks like Bicky had the Adamant, Vaughn picking that up. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull finding out that the wolves kind of have death in the form of a poison, I believe, just wiping his party. So beware of overworld wolves. They hurt.
And we'll see
Extra
wolves
bad
in...
dogs.
Yeah, very bad dogs today. All right, Siberian Bull is taking on the pirates again.
Inferno raiding the C or the right side C split, finding an ice shield and a fire sword, or ice shield +4 and a fire sword +5. That fighter now equipped with dang near end game level equipment, at least for the shield and the sword. That is pretty great to see early.
Yeah, Flame Sword, great bonus. I mean, also gets bonuses against Lich, all the undead, and Warmac. How about that? We have Fear Star found Volcano Armory, and we do have horizontally but not vertically flipped dungeons, so takes some adjustment, but it's not quite as brain bending as some.
There are always those little floors, and we have a hint for the canoe, it looks like. Sages and Crescent have the vanilla canoe. It's nice to see hint givers on and actually being taken advantage of.
Yeah, meanwhile, Fierstar found a ribbon in Volcano Armory. That's always nice to see.
Also taking a moment there to heal up before hitting that trap tile. We have our trap tile shuffled as per normal. Hopefully trying to find a good grind to stack up some experience. We have a really high initial scaling. We also have orbs set to scale their experience, so every orb they light gets them 100% extra bonus. And ooh-hoo-hoo, Inferno finding Toph. And Fluorestor also finding Bahamut behind that armory at Matoya's. So promotion location acquired, and Infernus freeing the princess. So once they find Canaria, they will get the princess and the king's item. Or Canary Castle, I should say.
Yep, and Inferno also finds that it is flipped, finding the lock, bonked off the lock.
Yeah. Oh, there's where that Zeus bonk came from. And the adamant is reforged into a rod.
That is going to be one sturdy rod. That'll do a great job of smashing that earth plate. Vaughn also clearing out the armory, going to find a ribbon. We'll be very happy about that.
Oh, Toph was vanilla Toph. That's fun. That's the great thing about the entrance and floor shuffle. Unless you specifically make it so, you don't get guaranteed alternation. There are chances where things can roll vanilla as far as locations. Same with the canoe being in vanilla location as an item.
Nothing like some vanilla sprinkles in a nice spicy rando.
Got localized there. The Dwarf Cave actually has Northwest Castle. Just for hilarity, is Northwest Castle going to be something like Marsh, just for localized random as well? That would be funny.
That it would be. All right, Siberian Bull is exploring the hairpins, is actually looking at, as I think, the vanilla giant sword chest. And Quadex will not work on earth elementals. That is just one of the many annoying things about them. And a Coral Sword +1 is not a bad find. Especially when you have a thief.
Indeed, the thief and I believe the red mage can swing that. And looks like Northwest Castle is actually waterfall, and we have vanilla waterfall, so you just know go left, up, and then down. You're good to go. Plus, they've got the telemagic available, and one thing we didn't mention, save on game over is enabled. So if they die during a dive, they keep all their progress, experience, and everything. They just get warped back out to the last save location.
Yes, that could make for some bold dives if they remember.
Infernus actually getting the cheeky robot to walk in front gets the ship, but also decides wants to raid the chests here in Waterfall, and finds that the Agama tile is there. It has trance, which is annoying, but that's a thin Agama worth a lot of experience.
Yes. And with that big bonus, 100% per orb, that's definitely something they'll remember for later. Now, the black belt has that -1 hit percent per level, but it's still be tempting to do some grinding.
And of course, with the forced recruit, they will have to shuffle up their party somewhat, but if you've got all the experience stacked on a slot and you take the swap, you're definitely going to be able to carry that over. You just have to remember, if you recruit someone who has spells, you have to go back and buy all those spells all over again. It can take some time, so it may not be worth the move, but it also lets you completely reset your spell selection if you wanted to respec your casters.
And the Agama also seems to have glance and squint, so maybe that isn't the best grind after all. And I like
Siberian
this.
Bull actually checking Bahamut's Horde is enabled. It's able to pick up a whole lot of chests.
And find a pro ring +2 and some experience. Another pro ring. A tail would have been absolutely hilarious, but he doesn't find that.
Meanwhile, Flarister, our first runner, followed quickly by Infernus in Marsh and Vaughn getting there, finding the Castle Canaria and picking up the canal, and I believe it was the Oxyale. There we go. So that's access to sea and access to the seas with the canal and the ship acquired.
All right, and nothing much at Black level 3. We do have Ice 2, which is nice.
Siberian Bull finding the swap left to right on Toph, bouncing against the locked room.
And White 3, I mean, nothing. Well, I don't know if Improved Dark is on or if Improved Lamp is on, the top of my head. But Black level 4 definitely's got some better stuff with Ice 3, Lich's favorite spells, and Cake and Zap.
And we had Fade there at White 4, which, pretty sweet. If it's red learnable, of course the White Mage could learn it, but the White Mage has the -4 per max cast, which kind of sucks. We did see a hint check, something about the cube and a cave, I believe. I think that was Ice Cave Cube.
That would make it an Ice Cube, I guess.
I mean, if it's an ice cube that allows you access to the Sky Palace, maybe it's extra fizzy? And hey, there is Ice Cave right there in Dwarf Castle. Now, for those who don't know, when we have the randomizer with the entrance and floor shuffle, oh, I guess it was an Ice Cave. Herb is an Ice Cave incentive.
But it also just says the cube is an Ice Cave. That's interesting.
That means the hint givers are telling us relative to the vanilla entrance, so whatever is at Ice Cave's entrance is where Ice Cube is. But as I was saying, the ice loop, this floor and the floors beneath it are all contiguous. They don't get shuffled. It's the same with ordeals. When you find ordeals, the pillar maze is in its normal order. There are just those few things we keep consistent.
Yep, Fierstar just found Opal +2 and the metal slime tile. That is a great grind for a full party, and he has Fire 3.
Indeedly do. The Zeus Bonk giving something for that black mage or that black belt to do with the fire doing most of the damage could stack up a lot. It's not great if you're going for the solo grind. That would be something where you'd want the Eye, the Agama, or maybe some T-Rex. But the party grind options, that or pack of dragons of some sort, tend to be the best options you get.
Great, Fear starts checking out the 6. There's another ribbon. That's the second ribbon we have seen.
And on the next floor over, the first check we saw in Furnace find the Masa -2.
I mean, it's still a Masa.
Yeah,
They'll do some good damage.
Yeah, it also mutes the Red Mage if equipped. So the Red Mage could be a melee swing or melee character for these parties with that Masa, but not be able to cast any spells.
Star is out of the inner sea. Well, Vaughn is heading to the Earth Cave entrance.
And ironically enough, finds the cube lock that will be accessed once you get the cube from wherever is at ice. Meanwhile, Florister going to the Sages in Crescent is going to be able to pick up that cube and actually go through that cube lock. Or sorry, get the canoe, I should say, which would then give them access to what's ever at ice to then get the cube to go to the cube lock.
And we have a crown for sale.
Crown. And affordable at this point. 13K it looked like.
And that kindly old king in Northwest Castle will like that. And level 6 temper, that's not something you want to see.
Also not so happy when you find it after spending most of your gold on items, so you can't buy it, even if you could learn it. And also saw life 2 there at level 6 white.
And that temper will be locked out of the Red Mage for promotion. That'll be Black Mage only.
Florister into the river system. Meanwhile, Infernus picks up the ship, and Vaughn picked up the crown and about to get their canoe as well. Let's see what is at Volcano.
Earth.
First floor of another dungeon leads into mermaids. That's actually pretty sweet. Highly chest dense. No encounters. And that's Sunsword +1. Another excellent weapon.
Yep, the fighter can use that. The Red Mage can use that. The Thief will be able to use that after promotion. Another flame +5. Red Mage can wield that without being muted.
I don't think we talked about it. As far as our incentive locations, we do have Vanilla C, so there is an item over here in C for Philister to pick up. Our incentive locations are Ice Cave, Ordeals, Marsh Cave, Earth Cave, Sea Shrine, Sky Palace. Carnaria Locked is also incentivized, so once they get the key, they can go pick that up. And that was the bottle.
Yep, so the fairy was rather... she lives in a lake and she was underwater, so I guess she was sort of at home. If you're
I guess the mermaids didn't... I was gonna say, I guess the mermaids didn't want to have her give out their oxy ale or something, so they captured her.
I mean, they get carbonated so often, I think I can understand that.
And now I just hope they play some bingo and that tiled Carbonate the Mermaids comes up. Vaughn into Ice Cave, finds Sky Spider, Sky 2, which has the incentive, and hey, it's flipped, so about to pick up the cube out of Sky, ironically.
Gotta love some of the fun things the Entrance and Floor Shuffle can do with incentives end up. And it's a Bridge of Destiny now.
So, Sky incentive into Sky Fiend.
On checking spells, probably looking to see whether he had any Tia insta-kills, and he does not.
but still looking to take the fight on some. Maybe no, not looking to take any of these fights, but does want to just say, "I'm gonna fight me a Tia because if I die, I keep the cube and I get some intel."
Yep, nothing to lose.
Is taking the metal slime fight though. That is, as we saw, excellent experience, and 5 of those slimes, take it.
Definitely. A Fear Star in the same position, also taking on Tia. Honestly, I don't remember the scale, but I'm not sure they really have. Now, that level 1 X fur is kind of interesting. That would actually make her vulnerable to some of those elementals instead of resisting them. I don't think anyone picked it up. And Vaughn is now starting his Tia fight.
Boss stats are 70 to 150, so averages out pretty normal. We can definitely see this happen with that black belt punching for 1 hit. That A, low-level black belt, all things considered, and B, reduced hit. Really, really sucks.
Yes. Pretty sure the black belts are along for their telemagic, which can be very useful here.
Now, I do believe one of our runners who found that ice loop did use the warp trick to pick up the herb. I don't remember if it was Florista or not. Or Vaughn, I believe it was one of the ones on the left, and thus did not get the ribbon or the masa that's here in the lower floors that Siberian Bull is raiding.
Meanwhile, the Tia fight's still going on. Fire 3 goes out. Zeusbonk did see several Quad X tries, but Tia's hit points were not low enough.
At the damage Zeusbonk is going, it's not going to be enough. And Tia has hold just because why not? And we see Vaughn actually resetting out of the fight. Says, I'm not going to make it through. It's a waste of time. I'm just going to go try something else.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that, but of course, with save on game over on, I do wonder. You know, of course, I like this checking the tiles in Earth. See, I mean, Gershark by itself isn't great. 3 mages, depending on what they got, is okay. Oh, this is not the Gershark Big Eye, so that's a little disappointing.
Meanwhile, Florister went back into Ice Cave and is walking around, I'm assuming looking for this, either a free eye or those metal slimes on Sky 2. There's a lot of reasonable experience you can get from these loose encounters, but you're also spending the time to walk around when you could go to some tile that you know has a potential grind. Choices are being made.
Yes, they saw the Agama earlier, but can't remember if everyone's seen them, but the Agamans actually do have something of a nasty script.
I was more thinking the metal slime tile if they spotted that.
Yes, definitely. I mean, we've got Fire 3, we've got other sweepers.
Inferna, our first runner through the cube block. Looks like they're taking a second to mark their tracker. Entrance and floor shuffle, always a set of siege you do not want to try and remember off the top of your head. And wait, warps out. Oh! Mechlander Tracker pointing out they do not have the cube yet. Because they have not been to Crenaria, they have not made it through ice. Or they have not been to Crescent, and thus haven't got the canoe made to ice, aka Sky, to get the cube, so. At this point, I'm thinking whatever's at Ordeals, or whatever's behind that cube block is going to be our floater. Because we're running out of locations that our runners can get to without it.
That is true, we definitely are. Fiera Star, I like this. Bridget Desi has a very high encounter rate, so if you're going to take the walking grind, it's a good place. You can get good things like the metal slimes, the nachos.
Even a 4-pack of our hydras can be tasty, but
I don't think they'd do too well against the Warmech, but you never know.
that is a chance. The almighty war chicken could make itself known. Vaughn getting out of there with the cube. Meanwhile, Florister going back in. Siberian Bull making their way to Crescent Lake, just where Inferno is about to get the canoe.
Yep. Fear Star is now taking on Tiamat again. Take advantage of free lock on the Black Mage. They swings, 45 damage. Punch, misses. And Dark actually hits the Thief. And he switches over to the Zeus Bonk. That tells me Enhanced Dark is on, and we did see Lamp.
Mecklin mentioning the Masa -2 hint. Unfortunately, I believe Infernus already has the Masa and just hasn't equipped it. Because -2.
It's easy to look at the minus on the weapon and not want to equip it, and Vaughn finds Mitoya at Earth.
Yep, that's the Q block taken care of, which means my routing mind is set. They are going to have to go to whatever's in Ordeals, and that will be their progression. Unless they haven't turned in the crown yet. I don't recall if they have.
Yeah, I don't think so. But there are 4 runners, so it's easy for us to miss something.
And, well, checking with our notes. Thank you very much again, Mr. Scruffy Ninja Tuna and Mecklin, for handling that. We have not seen what the crown turns into. But we are getting the Ordeals check.
Yep. Still chipping away at Tia's going to try the Quad X.
Is it Rando? Our second castle that's in the right place. Get your pillars in chat. Will we have a 1, 2, 3, 4 or a super fast that skips several rooms? So far no, and so far 1 loop. Both of our trackers calling for the pillar 4, devious. I like it.
I love
Furnace. Do we get a carbonation from Inferno? No, we do not.
All right, and Fiera Star's Red Mage just went down. That was probably his best chance. It went down before the Quad X could get out.
Siberian Bull and Inferno both raiding their way through C as Vaughn finally makes it through the pillar maze and gonna check what our incentive item is here. Finds a white shirt +5 and a ruse stick, the evasion kit right there. The only thing they're missing is the defense sword.
Yes, indeed. Great finds.
Invis 2 cast on the white shirt, Ruse cast on the stick, and there's our crystal. Mitoya came from that cube, and Vaughn was just there, so knows exactly what's up. And Florister actually gets the kill on Tia, unlocks the portal, and lights up the orb, and is going right back onto the Bridge of Destiny. Gonna take a quick kill. I don't know if their initial plan was to try and take some fights with the lowered party, or just...
I think it might have been to wipe and then to restore their stats outside, that's actually a pretty good play. That is heads up on Firestar's part.
Indeedly, and we get some high five action. Firestar leaving as Infernus heading that way, and Vaughn on the way to Mitoya. In fact, Vaughn, our only runner outside the river system right now, as Siberian Bull is heading to Ice Cave as well.
All right, Inferno's checking out Sky Spider, realizes this floor is flipped.
Some of the flip fours have an easy tell as to what side is what when they flip. Sky Spider, not so much, at least nothing immediate.
Right, we'll see whether Inferno decide. Yeah, Inferno looks like they want to take on Tia. And we're going to find out what Matoya has here in a moment. The key! That is always a good find.
Yep, that gives us access to Canaria Locked, which is another incentive check.
And of course, the key is one of the two items we actually need to finish the game, the loot being the other.
This is a standard 4 orbs and access Topher setup, so indeedly do. All fiends killed, key, and loot. We don't have any lock-picking shenanigans.
Siberian Bull going with the melee strats against Tia. Did remember the Masa and also has that flame +5.
I just checked, we are running a short Topher. With the Fiend refight all, so they will have to fight all 4 Fiends, but it will be back to back to back in an otherwise unencounterable Topher floor.
And is this even randomized? The TNT is in Canaria.
Vanilla TNT, Vanilla Canoe, Vanilla Ordeals, and Toph? Jeebus. I'd say Dark Moon's made it too easy on them for having so many things where they were, but they'd still have to remember where things aren't when they don't have them.
Yeah, that actually adds a nice twist to it if you ask me.
We're going straight to Canary Castle, remembering that is dwarves. Has warp/exit, so we'll be able to exit out quickly after turning in the TNT, but also with the key can raid Dwarf Armory if he so chooses.
Could also raid TFC, but he went right by there. And there's our floater. Yep.
There's also a legendary gear shop with a defense sword and a sun sword for sale. One of our less used flags, but it adds a shop for weapons and another legendary shop, I believe, elsewhere for armor, mixing them into different locations on the map, in this case dwarves. And we saw a katana -2. Ew.
Yep, so that's a little bit of bad news for those with the thieves. Of course, we haven't seen the Excal yet, the Masa rolled down. Haven't seen the Vorpal yet.
If anything, the Vorpal will be +5 and then should be thrown straight out of Sky 3's window. Or off the Bridge of Destiny. It is literally the most effective lawn dart for eliminating any unwanted desert dwellers. Vaughn going to Northwest Castle, forgetting that Northwest Castle's actually at Dwarves, which is exactly where Florister is. Or Florista. Dar. Now I feel bad for saying it wrong twice.
Right. Adjusting weapons and armor, I like this. You don't see the Opal equipment used too often, except maybe the armor and shield.
Vaughn taking the fight, as is Floristar. We see it is the Chime, so there's access to Mirage Tower. There is no Chime location randomized with this flag set, so that's access to one more check, and they will need to go and get the floater turned in to get into the sky. Vaughn, our only runner with the floater, is headed straight there. Using the down and to the left, using the western wraparound, which I believe is the faster route from here.
Alright, Fierstar pausing outside the Dwarves' entrance to take some notes. Well, Siberian Bull is also on the high seas, as Inferno's going to head to Ordeals and find Ordeals. And a lot of evasion.
I like this. Vaughn popping the bottle while going in to use the floater. Save some menuing because they all, with the auto sorting inventory flag enabled, they automatically show up right next to each other if you possess them. And
And Sarda's
Sarda
was
is.
Titan West. That was amusing. And
And
Titan West is Titan East, so it's a tunnel to nowhere.
that's hilarious. Vaughn, on his way to the Onrak continent, has access to. Oop, nope. Gonna go with the Cardia Isles checks first. Understandable. You've got a lot of quickly checkable entrances right here. Finds C left side 1. Or
We'll
left
see
side
where
2,
this
whichever.
leads. Yeah.
It leads to Lich. As our second fiend found, will be Vaughn's first fiend kill if they can pull it off, which I can only imagine they will. As Siberian Mole makes it through into the Ordeal's or out of the Ordeal's Pillar Maids, we have our second fiend fight.
All right. Fade comes out. Lich attacks and misses. Fire 3 comes out. Swing from that Masa, big damage. Punch, not much. There's another Fire 3, and goodbye, Lich.
First recruit found. And I missed what it was because I don't know the sprite set off the top of my head that Vaughn is using.
And I am in the same boat.
Do we have promoted classes as recruit?
I believe so. I've seen like knights picked up and a giant sword rolled up. That's actually a pretty good weapon. Siberian Bull, meanwhile, is through ordeals, picked up his evasion, picked up his crystal, and is ready to head out.
Vaughn, meanwhile, raiding the Agma floor, finds an Opal Bonk. Also found another Sun +1 sword. These good weapons, when they find, we are finding multiple. Vaughn actually recognizing immediately that the Fire 3 floor is actually flipped. There's a slight differentiation in the pattern, and then finds the Marsh split. All the fun when you find consecutive splits. If we go split into split, I will laugh on camera.
You will not be the only one laughing on camera.
Siberian Bull about to pull the fight to get the chime from Astos. As Flister going through Ordeals trying to get what we know is the evasion set and the crystal.
Siberian Bull picks up his chime. Inferna is taking on a seafood party plague.
Vaughn finds Earth 2 flipped. We do have the rods, so if they find their way to Earth... Nope, it's one of the Cardia treasuries, and I do believe Vaughn was the one who checked Bahamut's cave, so already has raided all the Horde chests. Uses Warp to back out a few floors, because of course you don't want to exit out and have to run all the way back down to this split.
Fierstar is meanwhile heading towards the Northwest Castle entrance. Remember that it's waterfall and see where we go. Heading towards the marsh entrance.
Yep. Rubes in chat pointing out that clearly Farista Star has lost track of where the cube would be. It is retracing all the steps. Honestly, I feel, because I've done exactly that many a time.
Yep. Inferno's picked up his evasion pack and is picking up the chest in Ordeals. Is going to grab his crystal. Going to check the grind tile and be disappointed.
And we see Vaughn on another Fiend floor has found Kraken. Knows where Tia is, so this is the second of the 3 fiends that he will have fought. Gonna hopefully clear this one up, and then just needs to find Carrie's floor to be in nearly go mode. Because I just realized none of our runners on stream, at least, have found the loot, so still some searching to go. Probably, I would assume at this point, behind the Earth Rodlock location, or of course we haven't seen what's in Gaia or at Lefane. In fact, we haven't even seen the slab.
That is quite true. Vaughn is taking on Kraken. Looking options, goes with Ice 3, which is as good as any. Do a lot. Fade. Decent damage. Swing. 2 hits, 2 damage. All these great weapons, and the thief is stuck with a saber. Meanwhile, the mage is taken down. Not the white mage, but... And this is not looking, but of course you've got save on game over, so worst case scenario, Vaughn will have information. Y'all might be trying to cheeky 3 and 256 with that cake at this point, because probably your best chance, but alright, knows where Kraken is. He's going to head off. He's going to get some more magic. He's probably deciding where to go from here specifically. Checking out Cardia Small and finds another floor.
That is Earth Armory. I don't remember if the Earth item is on the Rodlock floor behind the vampire, or if it's in Armory. I believe it's the vampire chest next or behind the vampire. So evidently just not bothering to check what's there, and finds Sky 1.
Yep, not bothering to check what's here. And finds Carrie. I don't know, some of these checks are annoying, but I don't know how happy I am with our equipment at this point either.
This is true. Not promoted, at least full party, does not have all the endgame gear, doesn't have anything like some good silver or gold bracelets for the casters. We have the white shirt, but no promoted white mage. Can't equip it.
That's still free in Viz 2, and that carry hits hard.
People forget Carrie's got a lot of swords, and she swings them a lot. Early carry fights can be horribly brutal sometimes, but Vaughn gets the damage in, quad X's, level 15 across the party.
And that's a white wizard. So it's got to make a decision.
Gets the kill, knows where Tia is, knows where Kraken is, but is already getting 300% experience with those 2 orbs lit. So whatever fights Vaughn takes now, the party will get up a lot faster.
Right.
Meanwhile,
Siberian Bull. I like this. Checks level 8. There's Invis 2. Ouch. White shirt's looking a lot better.
Level 8 magic stacked with some pretty valuable items. There's a ribbon from the bottle. Incentive ribbon acquired. The ribbon may have rolled down for its absorption, but no matter how low it rolls, it still provides protection from most all the spells and whatnot as far as damage. Obviously, the ribbon's not going to kill or save you from instant death spells. That's what the pro ring's for.
The ribbon actually does protect against all elements, but stuff like Slow 2 and Nuke, it will not protect against. And Siberian Bull has found a nice, tasty blue steak, but runs from it.
Don't know if that's off the hard reset. If that's off the hard reset, that is huge find, because that is the single encounter, single entity that's worth the most experience outside of Warmech. It's not the most experience you can get from a single fight. That is still Warmech, except for the Quad Gasty, I believe, is the only thing that can exceed that. Did we just see a second Masa? Yep, second Masa minus 2 out of Sarda, which is at Ordeal, or at Mirage Tower, and there's the T-Rex again.
And that was off the hard reset, I think, so Siberian Bull will know about that. So I wonder if he'll come back once he's lit in another orb or two and do a grind there.
So what I can tell, it looks like whatever's here at the entrance to Sea Shrine or in the waterfall is going to be our progression, because we have run out of other locations to check.
Yep, heading up to the waterfall location. Meanwhile, Inferno's heading through sea right side.
Marsh Top. Opt out for Siberian Bull. Resets out having saved while he was by Onrak, so he can save the time of floating back down the river. Lit 2, Lock 2 at Black 7 in Onrak. Not gonna bother. Doesn't have the ability to or purchase those spells, or at least learn them at the moment. And finds oh wow, that's a dead end. I must be forgetting something, because they have not found the tail, the ruby, the
slab or the loot. But whatever it is, I think I am forgetting it off the top of my head too, unless there's some incentives we've both forgotten about.
Have we seen the sea split?
I do not believe we have.
We saw Marsh split.
Right. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull rushes through the speed. He comes up on a speed bump.
It comes up with the Fiend fight as Floristar finally remembers, wait, it's in Ice Cave, picks up the cube, and will finally be able to progress. A lot of time spent trying to figure it out, but makes the find and can move forward. Siberian Bull has Earth and Air lit. So that's 2 orbs matching Vaughn's progression.
And more 0.2% plus on that experience.
Sleep Scums. Ew.
And
So,
Agaba floor, I believe. Love these flips.
indeed,
Siberian Bull is skipping everything.
Understandably so. Checks the Agama tile. We saw this before. It is the Nightmares. Meanwhile, there's the key from Floristar. Gonna unlock access to the castle treasury. We've got the ribbon pickup from Inferna. Siberian Bull continuing down progression. We've got 3 of our runners on screen or on stream with the floater and in the sky. Floristar just needs to catch up there. We saw the shop item already. That was the crown, so where else is there entrance-wise that either we and or the runners have missed?
Checker said they missed what was in Waterfall. I remember we saw it, but I don't remember what it was. And Vampire Floor and Marsh Bottom, that is true. We have not seen those.
That is very true. And did we ever see the Elf Prince?
I do not believe we have.
There are so many things that we have not seen, and I'm happy I'm not running because I've forgotten where any of them might be. Inferna gonna check through the on-rack portal, finds the dead end Cardia.
You know,
We
Fear
saw
Star.
Marsh top, but we didn't see Marsh bottom.
That is correct. Fear Star is going to check out the just pick up his floater. And don't remember if he checked the Dwarven armor yet. Vaughn is now going for a rematch against Tiamat. We have Fade. He wants Tiamat to fade away.
Vaughn has quite a bit more experience, and with those orbs lit, going to get more value out of this fight. So this should go much better than it did before. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull makes it to Kraken's floor as Inferna finds the Rodlock floor. First runner to find more progression.
All right. Well, Siberian Bull is coming up on Kraken. And our tracker, Chad McElhinney, pointing out that he doesn't think Vaughn checked the other Cardias, which very well may be the case.
You check a few islands, you find a fiend, and you think, oh, I'm done. But progression gated. That's the Ruby, and I do not recall Titans being incentivized. But we don't know what's behind here. It's likely C-split or likely leads to C-split and Elf Castle. Meanwhile, Vaughn gets the kill on Tia. And Siberian Bull.
Having a few problems. Well, it's lost one Light Warrior, now two to Kraken. Quadix goes out though, and still no, not yet. Kraken says, no more of that. Getting some decent damage out of that Masa.
That cut man has been cut. In fact, I wouldn't say cut. That cut man has been smashed to pieces. Siberian Bull wiping out. Meanwhile, Inferna diving deeper in finds both Mirage 1 and 2, and there it is, the C-split.
Inferna pausing to take notes. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull heading back up, picking up a few items this time as Fierstar pulls up the carry. Drops the black belt down to 1 HP. Ooh, I see 12 damage out of the Knight. That's not a great sign.
Fade pulling some good damage and Hold doing nothing. Don't recall what sword that is. I think it was the defense sword that the Knight was swinging.
I'm not sure either, but Fierstar manages to get carried down, picks up the recruit, replaces the Knight.
With a white mage of all things. Must remember, if you recruit a mage, all the magic has to be reordered in Inferna, finding that C-split right side, taking to the dwarf castle. What do we get from the prince? It is the slab, which will take us to Lefane. Either the Lefanians have the loot or the tail, and whatever else that they need to get, Marsh Bottom, that'll be on the other side of that C-split. This Cardia check proving to be incredibly impactful. Of course, Inferna still needs to get 3 more Fiend fights as well as tracking down this loot. But progress is progress, and Fluorstar is right on their heels, has found the Cardia Isles that the other runners had not checked, is about to get through the Rodlock, get the Ruby, and make their way down into this C-split chain.
Yes, indeed. Siberian Bull is pulling up the Kraken again. Making some adjustments, putting the Masa on, I believe, the Thief. Not quite sure who that is, but he has a Pro Cape he has not equipped.
Pro Cape being a universal piece of shield armor that can be equipped by any of the characters normally. Usually something you want to equip if you have it.
Yeah, I think except the Black Belt and Master. Just kind of weird.
I mean, a cape would get in the way of your wicked martial arts moves I can imagine. There is the tail coming out of the Marsh incentive. That is our chain. We are going to go slab into loot into go mode. Inferno going to check the rest of the Cardi Isles, though. Still has to go to Melman to translate the slab before they can go and pick up the loot. Vaughn in Gaia, picking up the ribbon.
And you know something? I do not believe we have seen Fast yet.
Oh, geez. I mean, we've seen level 7 and level 8 in Gaia and Onrak, which means that would put Fast at level 8 Lefane.
Yeah, that would be
That's the vanilla nuke spot.
Yes, it is.
Nuke, which is at level 8 Gaia.
Yeah. French vanilla nuke.
For anyone not aware, Fast is incredibly important because when cast on one of these party members, it doubles the number of hits. So a character like a Knight being able to swing 4 hits for 500 suddenly swings for 8 for a lot more. And of course, if one hit crits, every hit crits, so it just stacks up that much more. That's one of the reasons that the Master, or the Black Belt, having that negative 1 hit per level is so devastating, because normally you would want to level up a 32 plus level Black Belt, fast it, and it just unlocks more impacts than any other character, and it just grows like crazy. We call them in the community the punch cannon.
Yes, indeed. That cannon's been known to launch many a fiend and even chaos into orbit.
Inferno, assuming that the Kraken or that the carry floor is flipped, finds it is not. I do believe that is one of the rooms that has a tell where the stair is offset 1 tile either side.
I believe so. Inferno's taking on Carry. We have Walling the Black Mage. That's interesting. Nope, going back. Going to fade. Into lock 2. Carry inks. We do seem to have improved Darkon, so that could have been bad. Fade comes out with decent damage. Lock 2 carries easy to hit. Swing! Pretty decent damage. 4 hits like 167.
I wouldn't say that's decent damage, unfortunately, because you look at that 510 hit points, that fighter's at a relatively high level. So that Masa -2 not helping the damage output.
That is true, but Carry is taken down, and it was another white wizard, so we would be at fighter white, white, black for Inferno, who's taking some notes and heading off to another island. Star finds the Cardia treasure. He's like, I'm not interested in this. I'm warping back. You know, do not think we have seen the Excal or the Vorpal yet. Just interesting, because both the Katana and the Masa rolled down. They're still pretty good weapons, but they are rolled down. Fiera Star now heading back down to the ice loop from the looks of it. Interesting. Oh, that wasn't not the loop. He is now in C, going to take on a Kraken. So many floors, I do not remember what leads where. That wasn't the loop. That was just ice 2. My bad.
Well, we see Inferna is in that split sequence, or the Marsh split sequence, as well as Siberian Bull is racing up the Mirage Tower. This is going to get Siberian Bull into the item go mode chain, picking up that slab, if I recall.
And Von is setting up for an Agama grind. He's showing off his weapons to the Agama. Meanwhile, bottom character, who obviously wants to grind, is showing off the Roo Stick, and the Agama's like, "What's that?" and squints at it.
That is horrifying because Squint sure as heck insta-kills. In fact, Vaughn running away and coming back in, that's an interesting choice. I don't know if that was on purpose.
I'm not sure either. Agamas are not always the best at bringing down other party members, and Vaughn is actually now he might be going somewhere to take down some party HP, or maybe just get some progression.
Florister getting the kill on Kraken with the solo standing Red Mage Quad X. It isn't a Bane or Brack, but it is hilarious all nonetheless. Then we see a ninja picked up and a sun sword, I believe, equipped to it. So primary multi-hit. The ninja has a higher number of hits at a lower strength than the knight does. So it could do a good chunk of damage. Of course, if it's alive, which it currently is not, those gas in C not doing any favors. But this is actually Florister's check into Marsh, gonna finally take out the Earth Fiend here, Lich, aka Mr. Speed Bump himself, would put him in Fiend kills to go.
Yep, Fade comes out. 120 damage, not great, not terrible. Fade again, 111. We are going in the wrong direction, but a punchy Lich is one of the best Liches. Switches to Fire 3, 130 damage, and there goes Lich.
I do believe that Lich rolled down just a little. We see a Master being picked up. Well, Vaughn actually searched out Volcano 1 and is grinding away at his own party's hit points to down or be ready to down party members. That way he can get that solo grind on.
The Fierstar I saw replace the Black Belt with the Master. I think that's actually a pretty good move, especially if you intend to keep the Master, although I don't know, we were talking about this beforehand, Fabian. Do we want to keep the Master with that -1 hit percent late when we aren't as concerned about the warp and exit?
Honestly, I would say no. At that point, I would think a fighter thief black red or black white might be better, or just going with a fighter or a thief and then a rainbow pack. Because the black belt early was definitely valuable with its telemagic bonus, but it's that hit is so devastating, especially since we haven't seen fast.
Yep, but picking it up now means you could probably replace it with a fighter later, and Fierstar also learns that Anrak leads nowhere.
Vaughn back into Northwest Castle, aka Waterfall. Looked like they were trying to take a fight at the entrance. Just trying to find a quick way to kill off the party. Meanwhile, Siberian Bull at a Kraken fight, at a carry fight as the Kraken fight from Inferna. 2 fiends on screen, both of which are the last fiends that those runners need. They just would have to translate that slab and head to Lefane to get into Toph. But at their levels, I don't know if they're ready.
I don't know either, but if you're Siberian Bull, you have seen that T-Rex off the hard reset. And with 4 orbs, you have great bonus on experience.
Yeah, that is 500% experience per fight. And if you down 2 or 3 of your party members and just go boom, 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 that is substantial. First runner to get the translation is about to go and get that slab turned in. Or checking what's in the Mirage, gonna find Sarda and hopefully for Flir's mistake, might find that T-Rex because it was pretty fast off the hard reset, if I remember correctly.
Inferno is through Kraken and replaces the Master. I like this, replacing the Master after you have the last Fiend, because... Yep.
And unfortunately, it is not nearly as fast an encounter off the hard reset as I hoped. Or Flir's to soft reset instead of hard reset before going into Mirage, because that was a run to and out of Mirage without a single encounter.
Yeah, I think that was a soft reset, because hard reset, I'm pretty sure you hit it between the airship landing point and Mirage. And Hero Star picks up his loot, so he is in go mode. And with the Lefane Superstore, he can actually refill his spell slots. It's interesting. He did keep the Master.
That could be telling. Yep, the Lefanian Superstore and the Lefanian Hospitality set, adding a clinic and a